read.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hellbent Holler Live. We are in the studio right now. It is not decorated yet. We've made our way out of our library and into the studio. So we will slowly but surely start adding in decor back here and making it a little more interesting looking visually. But we have been so incredibly busy the past 3 weeks going nonstop.
Yeah, it's been about a month now. So
yeah, about a month nonstop. And we'll kind of get into that. Oh, I miss Mr. Skeleton. Mr. Skeleton lives in the library. We might we'll figure out something. I'd like to get a medical specimen and put him.
Of course we would. We'd love a medical specimen.
Anybody got a medical specimen I can put in the studio?
Specimen.
I'm probably gonna put some shelving back here and then just put a lot of our really cool stuff back here. We've got kind of our cool little artifacts and everything that we've got. But welcome to Hellbent Live. My name is Jessie Doyle. This is my Santa Claus.
My Santa Claus. I actually need to trim my beard. I always trim my beard down. I went like gray and white haired at a very relatively early age. So every year I start getting the Santa Claus comments. So every year I trim the beard down. So next time you guys see me, it'll be down to stubble. So
we look a little like everything's very warm here. It's very warm. Yeah. That's all right.
Yeah,
welcome to Hellbent Holler from the pits of hell.
We just got back in. So we have been doing a big investigation, expedition, whatever you want to call it, in the Sumter National Forest.
Yes.
If the ticker going across the bottom of the screen for the last 2 months, asking for people with encounters in the Sumter National Forest didn't clue you in.
That's what we've been up to. So
now we were doing the Sumter National Forest that's down further into the middle region of South Carolina.
More towards Columbia. It's referred to as the Honoree with an E. Honoree for the Honoree River. The Honoree Ranger District. Up around our way, we have the Andrew Pickens Ranger District, but the Sumter National Forest is divided into 2 very separate, very different sections. I don't know why you don't just have a different national forest title for both, but alas, who are we to judge? But yeah, we have been working nonstop for a month. We've been doing a hardcore investigation out that way, and we've been doing that for a very special purpose. We're going to go ahead and just officially announce this right now, right? You okay with it? You good with that? Good. Yeah. Okay. We are doing 4. That's right. You can count on 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're doing 4 documentaries for small town monsters in 2026. And the Sumter National Forest is going to be our first foray into that.
Sumter's weird, man. That's going to be part of our conversation tonight with you all and I think MK's in the chat. Matter of fact, I got a few things to highlight there. Okie, you spoil us, my man. You spoil us. You spoil us. You spoil us.
Oh, I figured out what the problem was. I had an orange light pointing right at my head.
Is that what it is? So we do look very orange tonight. So, Okie, thank you as always. And then Joseph, thank you for rejoining the membership. We have got some cool stuff coming out. We have been it's always kind of a good sign when we're talking about how busy we are and you don't see us that much, because that means that we've got a lot of interesting stuff going on.
We got a lot of stuff coming on. We got a lot of stuff coming down. We have been just filming nonstop. We've been doing investigations nonstop. We've been getting some crazy stuff happening. MK joined us for a couple of weeks for those investigations out there. So we've got the band back together from the Uwharrie Monster on Morris Mountain.
And that wasn't all we had back together. We saw some real parallels between the Uwharrie expedition and the Sumter Forest expedition. And we're going to go through that tonight. Some patterns that we've discovered, not really discovered. We've hinted at them all along, but it's become more solidified over the past month or so.
Yeah.
Just some patterns, at least in this region. May not be nationwide, may not be worldwide, but at least in this neck of the woods, some patterns that definitely go along with Bigfoot. Some of them are stuff that you hear about, when other people talk about the subject. Others are pretty, I think, unique, and you really kind of get out there and bust through the brush a lot, put some miles in, going through brambles and climbing over rocks to really kind of get that, that high level enough view to kind of start connecting the dots with some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So a couple of things real quick. Not today. Member for 9 months. Actually, he's a member longer. I think he left and then came back. Is a milestone a big ass rock or just another term for meteor? Confused. I don't know where our rock is. Is it on the back porch?
The rock is on the back patio. Yes. And that's where the rock will live. The rock is not coming in the house.
Okay. Speaking of MK, there he is. He gifted some lucky soul.
Or unlucky. It depends on how you look at it.
Hellbent Holler membership. Couple quick things. Mad Axeman, thank you so much for the super sticker.
Thank you, sir.
You are awesome. And then, as always, who is it?
Curtis.
Curtis, don't hurt us. Curtis Whitaker, our man. The man, the myth, the legend. Curtis, I hope you guys are doing well and you're all set up for Christmas. We actually got our Christmas tree up. I don't want this turning just like a little talk show thing, but you don't understand. That was a real milestone for us. We came in for a few days from Sumter and stayed up super late one night and actually moved the bare bones of our studio in here.
Wait.
What are you trying to do? Make us look less jaundiced?
How does that look? Oh, now that's, I think that's better.
That's pretty good.
That's better. All right.
But Curtis, thank you so much, my man. We appreciate it. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you,
We
Curtis.
appreciate it.
Curtis, you inspired the change of lighting there.
And then the famous scribe. Hellbent Holler scribe. As a native South Carolinian, the whole state is weird as hell.
We've talked about this before, that it seemed like for many, many years that there were no official Bigfoot sightings or reports, definitely nothing notable coming out of South Carolina. It's like you would look at a Bigfoot report map and you've got all these hotspots in North Carolina, North Georgia, all these areas. And it's like, it just skipped over South Carolina and we couldn't figure it out. In recent years, that's definitely changed. There's way more reports coming out of here, most notably one that came out of here near Newberry, which is what set off this entire investigation in November of 2024. But what was interesting is it seemed like there was this just lack of reporting that was going on in South Carolina. And we're like, we couldn't figure it out. And that's what started the Dark Corner series that we did, is we actually started getting reports from the upstate of South Carolina in that Dark Corner region. And we started investigating those and checking those out. And it kind of developed from there. And we discovered that it's not a matter of there is a lack of activity. There's a lack of sightings. It's more of a culture of silence that feeds into these events and these experiences not being reported to the public at large.
You were dealing with areas that moonshining was very prevalent in. So there is a very culturally encoded aversion to speaking to the man, anybody in authority.
Right.
And that continues into this day. You know what I'm saying? You will go across people in this part of South Carolina who are pretty much upstanding citizens who still don't really want to talk to anybody in authority. You know what
Uh-huh.
I'm saying? Not even a political thing. It's just that if you're in a position of authority, I ain't got nothing to say to you. You ain't got nothing to say to me, especially with the weirder stuff like this. Like Turdog says, South Carolina peeps just tight-lipped about Bigfoot and strange stuffs. Very much so. And we've touched upon this before. I still need to do my full presentation that I came up with for us for Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference.
Yeah, I
do that
think so.
online. One of the things we talked about is that there's, like I mentioned, there's some cultural encoding. There's some cultural peculiarities to this region that kind of really aid in Bigfoot not being like officially discovered. And part of that is in some areas, people don't like to talk to outsiders or definitely anybody in authority. Those sorts of sightings are just shared amongst family and friends. In other areas, there's a very rich history and people are ingrained to have like an oral tradition. These things are passed by word of mouth. Nobody ever thinks to get online and make a Bigfoot report. You know, nobody's going to like go, oh, I just saw a Bigfoot report. Let me go online and find a local group to report it to. They just don't do that. And then in other areas, it's considered evil, regardless of what your personal opinion is on Bigfoot or other strange phenomenon.
And there's also that attachment of if you begin to discuss it, if you begin to talk about it, you give it permission to enter your life even more. You give it that power to come into your life. And with a lot of these people, it's a very negative experience and they don't want it to come into their lives. They find it evil. They find these attachments evil, whether it's not necessarily a demon or something like that.
It's a haint.
It's a haint.
It's a haint.
But it's something, it's the other, it's foreign, it's alien, it's disturbing, and it's considered evil. And you don't want that in your life. You don't want that bad juju.
Some people consider it just bad to speak about, and other people think that, like Jesse said, you'll draw its attention by speaking about it. And that's paralleled in like multiple different traditions across multiple different societies and cultures all across the planet.
And we certainly experienced that in our Halloween special that we did. It was that investigation we did leading up to Halloween. We did that in October. We did several investigations out in that area where that woman told us about that upright canid. And the grandmother forbade her from speaking to us any further. We were denied access to the property because it was deemed evil, and that it would just get worse if she spoke about it,
especially to outsiders.
Especially to outsiders, brought anybody else in there and involved anybody else. It would just make their problems get worse and worse. And we don't live there. We don't live in that place. They have to deal with the consequences of discussing that. If that's part of their belief system, which we've seen prime examples of when we discuss something, when we talk about something, when we will it into existence, it seems to come at us full force. You know, it doesn't slow down. It seems to get worse and worse and worse. And we start to see this stuff everywhere. So there is, you know, it's demonstrable that we've seen this before. We've experienced this before, and we don't want to leave these people, these witnesses, with that. So we kind of
still a little salty about it, though. Sorry.
We are salty about it.
Still a little salty about it.
But we kind of left
Still
that case
on
that end, and we pursued it in our own way.
Still a little salty
But we involved them any further per their request. We do respect our witnesses and their wishes. So we kind of pursued it in our own way, despite how difficult it was to pursue it in our own way. And it was one of the strangest cases that we've ever worked.
Yeah, but it's the thing that gets me, though, is that I wish we'd known that up front. We could have gone about investigating that area much better. Now I'm like afraid to talk about anything because I'm afraid I'm going to somehow like betray a trust if I even discuss anything we've learned since the investigation.
We kind of have to use investigative journalist ethics. I know that most journalists have no ethics now, but we try to use the ethics that were traditionally involved in investigative journalism, to where when you have a source, when you have somebody who says, keep me confidential, we keep them confidential. We definitely keep our locations confidential. We did talk about it being Sumter National Forest, but that's going to come out in a documentary.
So you can go out looking in Sumter Forest. You ain't gonna find us.
Good luck.
Good luck. Ken Lucas, our man, always with a weird dollar. It's a code of some sort. I think these strange dollar amounts are codes of some sort. And I think that when we crack it, we're going to wish we hadn't. Thank you, Ken.
You never want to crack something with Ken Lapkus.
Yeah, I never want to crack anything with Ken. Oh, boy, Ken. And then our buddy Brad. Brad, thank you so much. You guys are doing great. I appreciate you guys so much. This is going towards, we actually got, I wish I had it with us. I just got a replacement battery thing today, but I got it charging up. I might grab it here in a little while and show it. We picked it up from the Amazon.
I can go grab it if you want me to.
We picked it up. Actually, go grab it.
I'll grab it.
We picked it up from the Amazon locker just on our way in. So thank you, Brad. We appreciate it. And a good question. Have you checked to see if you discussing this has affected them since you left, since you talk about it weekly? No, we haven't. And I'm hoping that maybe they would just kind of reach out to me, and if at least the original witness we spoke to would reach out and kind of just maybe update us, do a little something like that. Because we'll talk about it. That's no problem. But we can't share anything as far as like that would lead anybody to them. So if you're watching this and you watch the show, I know, maybe reach out. Don't pick up the phone, shoot us a text. Yeah, I got a new little battery handle in today. We run our action cams and various types of equipment off these like little battery bank handles. This one's really cool in that it turns into a tripod. I was replacing some of the stuff that crapped out on us, and this was actually on a Black Friday thing. So this will be our first time checking this one out. But battery banks. Definitely
had to rotate some out.
Yeah. So
Brian Wigfall, this is a side note. This is a little side note here. Brian says, hi, Jesse and Joe. Great to be here with you guys as always. Good news with my mom. She's getting more movement. Slow and steady wins the race. Yay. We've been praying for Brian's mom to get better. She is fighting an uphill battle, but it's good to see that she is doing better.
Speaking of prayers, our buddy Adam with Half Inch Wrench Crew, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard, a lot of you all know more than us because we were getting messages, and I spoke to Krista from Blondes and Booze YouTube channel when we were finally getting in out of
she's in the chat right now. She actually got the membership that MK bought tonight.
Look at that. All right. So
and that's the update.
But we are still kind of gathering stuff up together. If you guys don't know Adam from Half Inch Wrench Crew, you've heard us talk about him, very complimentary in the past. Great guy, great investigator. His channel is one of the few things on like YouTube that like I watch and just stand there and just go, that's a great idea. Wow, I wish I'd thought of that. You know, we're pretty creative as far as this stuff goes, but Adam is he sets a pretty good,
and then very tech savvy too, which is very rare in this field.
Very creative. He had a house fire, and it is all over social media. So we're just putting it out there that there will be some efforts. I think there's a GoFundMe going up for him right now. Krista from Blondes and Booze is doing some stuff up for him. But as we determine how the community is going to spring into action to kind of help him and his family, because it's a crappy thing to happen anytime.
Oh, absolutely, especially right at the holidays.
Right at the holidays. He's got 2 young kids. So stay tuned as we learn more. We'll be sharing it with everybody. We'll be sharing links to any way you want to support him. I know a lot of the people in our Discord is very familiar with the Half Inch Wrench guys. They're very well liked and admired across the community. And we will be, as we get caught up here and learning more, we'll be sharing more stuff with you guys about how people can help them if they so choose.
Yeah. Once that gets all the organization on that gets put together, we'll definitely promote that and share that around so that we can help that family out.
So what else we got?
I got some stuff marking. I'm going down through here.
Yeah. We'll get through it. Let's see here. Bigfoot Society talking about the cryptid campout.
Anyone else hanging out with Jesse and Joe at the cryptid campout in April? Tickets are, as I'm aware of, sold out for the cryptid campout.
Ain't nobody hanging out with us because I'm going to pull like a prima donna move and not leave my cabin. You know what I'm saying?
What are you going to demand?
Something, I don't know. Just
what
something like
what's your rider?
Like, something like one of those like 70s like rock star singers.
Green M&Ms.
Green M&Ms not coming out. Not coming out. So, all right. Let's see what else we got here. Our buddy Hawk, who is struggling under a bunch of snow right now, gifted 5 Hellbent Holler memberships. Memberships.
Thank you, Mr. Hawk.
Are a good way to support the channel. We're 100% community supported.
And if you're gifted a membership, it gives you a quick little way in to check out all of our extra content that we have out there. I should be releasing a members video hopefully in the next few days. Like we said, we've been just on the road filming for this, the first Small Town Monsters release. But I've got some really cool Blackthorn stuff that I'll be releasing over the next few days for members. And I know you guys love the Blackthorn series. It's a huge mystery. We are definitely back in the saddle on Blackthorn. We're excited to be out there running around those woods and experiencing some.
Now, the one that you're going to bring out is where we had.
I have two.
You've always heard about the cone of silence. We talked about this on a live stream, didn't we? It's all blending together, right?
The cone of silence is definitely something that we experienced in Uwharrie as well.
But we experienced like a cone of
light
dimming,
cone of darkness.
Cone of darkness.
Cone of darkness.
You could see, but the flashlights. I first noticed it because my main cam, which uses an infrared light, like an infrared booster light on it. I'm going, my camera's just not, and I thought maybe the camera was starting to crack.
Can I use one of these?
What's that?
Say cone of darkness in a cool way.
Oh, okay. All right, hold on. Yeah. Cone of darkness. Does that come through for them too?
That's really? Not just for our entertainment. Yes.
I just thought it might just be for our entertainment. But
so if you happen to say,
cone of darkness.
The show's ruined.
Good God, good God. Good
or has
God,
it just gotten better? Who knows?
I lost it on here, but cone of silence. Somebody said cone of silence would be a good video. I mean, cone of darkness would be a good video name there. That might be. COD, you can't hit it when I do the abbreviation. You just can't. But first thing I noticed is that my camera was not picking up the light like it should. And I'm going, is my light going out? Because it's infrared light. You can't really see it with your naked eye, but you can see the actual individual lights in there have a little bit of a glow to them. And I'm going, it looks like it's working fine. And I'm going, is my camera going out? It sucks. And then we realized that like our headlamps and flashlights just weren't working the way that they were, man. And I was like, it's weird because I stopped. It shows you how like where my priorities are in life. I stopped worrying about the weird aspect of it. And I just started worrying that when we got out, everything that we had was going to be like affected and have to be like replaced and worked on and everything like that. And then when we got out of that area, everything went back to working fine. There was no mist. There's no nothing like that. And you guys have seen my flashlight on different episodes. It's like a lightsaber, man. And it just was.
Mine's got spill. Yours has throw.
Didn't mean to make you insecure about your flashlight.
Well,
there.
I'm just saying that.
Nobody insulted your poor little flashlight. Okay, it's a great flashlight. It does a great job. But it just anything that like emitted light just was like weaker in this particular area, and it's the weirdest damn thing. There was no fog. There was no mist. There wasn't a lot of like, particulates in the air. It was just weird. And we were just like, man, it was like the cone of silence, but that we've experienced. But instead of like sounds being dampened, it was like anything emitting light was being dampened.
Yeah.
Weirdest freaking thing, man. And it's never happened to us before or since. Very bizarre. But that's in one of the investigations from Blackthorn that she'll be releasing to you. And you know what? And here's the deal. Maybe I can't come up with an explanation for it. I can't come up with a rational explanation for it. Like, there was an invisible fog there. Well, if it was invisible, it wouldn't have affected our flashlights.
What would have been worse is an invisible frog, though.
Our buddy Miranda, update on fundraiser. Love this channel. Miranda's talking about the fundraiser that we're going to do, our holiday fundraiser. We've
been in the process of planning that whole thing. We're in a planning stage right now, but it should be happening.
Should be happening. I've got
a theme song that I've commissioned.
But
Cronus Ethics. I thought you'd like that.
That's okay. Good God Almighty. So anyway, but so we've got that coming. So we've got some good stuff coming out. Let's go into our secondary topic first. How's that sound?
Sure.
So again, we've been like basically out of touch for like the better part of a month. And when I say out of touch, it takes me like days to respond to messages. And even then it's like, sorry, very busy. Didn't get a chance to see this. There's a missing hiker down in Blood Mountain, Georgia. And we were talking about this earlier. We had heard about the missing hiker and made a mental note of it, and then just kind of went on with our investigations. And then now that we made it back like today and we're kind of back, we're looking, he's still missing.
So this is a highly frequented area. He's been missing since November 11th, and the search was officially called off on the 25th, correct? But they're still out there looking for him. Of course, his family is looking for him, organizing efforts to find him. But he's been missing for quite a while. And the longer you are missing, the worse the outcome seems to be. But they've not found anything. They've recently deployed specialty canine units, which we know usually translates to possibly cadaver dogs. But he's been gone for a very long time. And it seems like Mr. Horsch, did you say his name?
I did not say his name. So.
He disappeared without a trace.
Charles Horsch.
Which, you know, Joe and I were talking about this earlier. We were having a discussion about this missing gentleman. That is, if I'm incorrect, you guys can correct me. That's a name of German origin.
Well, let's look it up here real quick.
Know that Hosch, Hosch. We know that that is one of those data points that David Paulides pulled out from Missing 411.
So it is German. So
yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Nickname for scornful.
Yeah, that's the root word for it. So.
All right.
Cannon, what's up, my man? Cannon's one of our OGs.
What's up, Cannon?
What's up, Cannon?
That is one of those data points that David Paulides actually pulled out during the investigation through the Missing 411 series, that people of German descent were targets of whatever this is.
Yeah, there was, and then the other thing too is that he's apparently a very well-respected, he's very well-respected and a very accomplished attorney as well. So one of the Missing 411 data points is people that are generally either suffering from some sort of like mental impairment or people who are very highly intelligent. It seems like it gets people on either end of the spectrum. And he's obviously on the end of the spectrum that is, you know, on the far end of the curve there. And he has gone missing. Somebody saw him. He was on his way down the mountain. He's a very accomplished hiker.
And this is not a very long trail, correct? I don't know a lot. I've never hiked Blood Mountain myself. Maybe
not on the trails. We've been around in that area doing investigations.
Yeah.
But we've never been on the hiking trails.
Never been on the
hiking. I think that part's part of the Appalachian Trail.
And it's pretty well frequented, especially right now. The weather is absolutely
There's
perfect.
tons of people out. From what I understand.
For hiking.
That's what they're a little mystified about, is that there's so many people out hiking. How did he go if he had fallen and gotten hurt? That there's tons of people out there.
Yeah.
Now, he's got a lot of experience on that. He is an older gentleman. He's in his late 60s. I think he's 67, if I remember correctly. But it's chalking up to be a strange disappearance. They had a very, very, very well-coordinated, well-staffed search effort pretty early on, pretty much almost immediately. And there's been some kind of shock that they weren't able to find him with that. They had a very well attended, they had a lot of search and rescue professionals out there.
And this is a family that has resources. He's a very well-respected lawyer.
They were able to get resources out there.
His law firm actually mobilized a lot of the search effort as well. So he's a beloved member of the community, and they had a lot of resources that they've thrown at this, and they got nothing. You know, in the famous words of Joe, they got nothing.
They got nothing. They called the search off, waiting for any sort of leads, anything like that at all to come out. And there are 2 volunteer search and rescue groups out there right now that are kind of like the semi-professional guys. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them are like retired law enforcement or whatnot that did search and rescue for a living and now volunteer their time, and they're out there and they haven't turned anything up yet.
Yeah.
Blood Mountain's weird. Blood Mountain is weird for a couple of different reasons.
Is Blood Mountain involved in seer training? Is that, I am incorrect with this, right?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I do know that Gary Michael Hinton, the serial killer.
It was not Hilton. Yes. Was it Hilton? Is
it's Gary Michael Hilton.
It is Hilton.
It is Hilton.
Is he related to Paris? Have we blown the lid off this case?
First cousins. I'm going to get sued by the Hilton Corporation now. But Gary Michael Hilton, is it Gary Michael Hilton or Gary Wayne Hilton? I can never remember the middle
There's
names.
always Michael. There's always.
Well, they do that. There's a reason why
There's
they do
always
that.
a Wayne.
There's a reason why they do that. There's a reason. So that way, because when they openly start identifying serial killers or mass murderers, spree killers, whatever,
you don't want to mix them up with the non.
They make sure that they're as specific as possible with the middle name. But he was responsible for the murder of a woman back there, and I want to say 2004. Let me look that back. That I don't know off the top of my head. But I heard some scuttlebutt in and around the 2008. Okay. That this looked very similar to when the woman went missing after Hilton ran across her and did his deed. So there was some scuttlebutt there of going everything from some gallows humor, going make sure he's still in his cell. Of course, he's in his, I think, his 70s at this point too. But they were maybe worried about a copycat.
Yeah.
And that just might be a couple of dudes talking around the proverbial water cooler, or there might be something to that. The other thing that is...
Now, if you were going to do a copycat on that, I mean, so Hilton's victim was a 24-year-old woman. Wouldn't you follow that profile, or you just...
Hilton was also an accomplished...
Is it going to be a crime of opportunity?
Yeah, Hilton was also an accomplished serial killer. If somebody was doing a copycat, more than likely,
just be a variation of people,
whoever they could get, probably the lowest hanging fruit that they could find. Now, the other thing too is that back in like 2019, in that general area, there were two pretty well reported Bigfoot sightings. End of January, first week in February. I want to think they were like a week apart, within just a few miles of there. And there's a ton of Bigfoot reported activity through there. That's not that far from the Expedition Bigfoot Museum.
Right.
There. And that entire region has a very rich history of Bigfoot encounters and sightings, but that particular area that he went missing in has had cluster sightings before, generally in the winter, you know what I'm saying, January, February. But the weather's cold right now. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but it is very... I'm hoping that this time next week we're going, wow, they found him, never mind. But there's a lot of not so good history with that particular mountain. And, I was doing a little research when we actually had a chance to kind of...
it's kind of interesting. And I'm just going to do this as an aside. How far is Blood Mountain from Helen, Georgia? When I was a kid, I camped in Helen, Georgia. And it was me and my parents and a couple other people were camping out there. And we were in a remote area. We weren't like a campground or anything like that. But we had kind of it wasn't like a Sasquatch encounter or anything like that. We didn't see anything directly. I've never seen Sasquatch directly. I've never had like a Class A.
Well, you saw that black shape running into the...
I don't...
But you can't identify that as a Bigfoot.
I can't. Yeah. I'm never going to say that I had a Class A encounter until I can see it dead on and I can identify 100% that's what I saw, and I can say without a doubt that that's what I saw. I saw a dark, upright figure that was very large. Now... Running very quickly. Now, it could be, but until I get the 100% dead on, there it is. That's a Bigfoot. That's a Sasquatch. I'm never going to say that I've had that Class A sighting, but we had some very strange stuff. We had, and this is going to go in a direction that you're going to laugh your butt off about. And I haven't talked about this. I told you before that we heard like moving around outside the tent in the middle of the night. Kept quiet. Everybody kind of heard it. A little bit of vocalization. The next morning, we got up behind my tent. A pile of poop. Not human. I thought it was a bear. Probably a bear.
Very fitting. Very fitting.
But could that have been the genesis of this?
I heard that where the poop the attraction to poop came through. So, and when I say attraction,
Yeah, you're
the
really
fact that you seem to find
throwing me
every
under the bus.
pile of poop that comes along.
Step in it.
Bigfoot Michigan Rob, our man. Thank you so much, buddy. We appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. But I don't know. There's a darker history to Blood Mountain, and it's got the name Blood Mountain for God's sakes. So, which was, they think the genesis of that was between a battle between some of the native tribes through here. And, but then again, you have to look at the fact that he's gone missing in this area. They've got cadaver dogs out there working right now, and they're not finding anything.
Yeah.
It's an area that has a pretty high frequency. Like, there's more Bigfoot reports there in colder weather. Okay. And that is kind of like a data point that at least people who are into this sort of stuff like we are, you can't ignore. So it's going to be interesting to see if he kind of comes up. One of the things I saw on a search and rescue guy who's not involved in this. He's in a different part of the country, but
he's just putting his 2 cents on
talking to some other search and rescue guys. He's familiar with the area of the Blood Mountain. And he said, I've been up through there many times. There's lots of remote areas, and there are some really strange 2-legged animals around there. Go armed when you go in there.
So that
2-legged animals could mean sketchy people.
Could mean sketchy people.
But
that's pretty open-ended, honestly. That's
very open-ended. It's one of those open-ended things that, again, you just can't you can't say he's
surviving.
May read it just to make sure. There are some really strange 2-legged animals.
Yeah, that's open for interpretation, I would say.
For interpretation.
Surviving the Strange has been in that area. He's familiar with that. He says there's a lot of ledges and drop-offs in that section.
Yeah, and it's possible, you can just go. When we were out in Sumter, we came across, you always hear us talk about old wells. There's an old open well. Maybe it was covered once upon a time. The covering rots away. And then it just gets covered with branches and leaves, and it looks like the forest floor until you step on it.
Yeah.
And
we're running around in the middle of the night, and also we're trying to film what we're doing too.
Yeah. So
it's dumb.
It is.
So there's a lot of mishaps that can befall you out there. Sam Burton says, as another late 60s dude, I don't go out alone. Ace is always with me and I'm armed, but I need a locator. I think I'll buy one for Christmas. It could actually save your life at the end of the day.
Well, it's weird because so many people trust cell phones, and like my iPhone has got that satellite texting option. And the damn thing never works.
Also, you have to think about this too. Where is your cell phone located? Is it in your pocket? If you fall down a ravine, is it going to come out of your pocket? Is it going to get crushed underneath your body?
It's a lot more fragile than the personal locator beacon
100%. This is just a PSA. Anybody going out there, if you hike a lot, if you hike in dangerous areas, I do suggest you get a Garmin InReach Mini. That's what I carry on my person every time I'm out in the woods. Usually I have it hooked to my body. Or my chest rig, and my chest rig is connected totally to myself. It's not going to come off. It's strapped on, never comes off. If I go to pee in the woods and I take my backpack off, chest rig always stays on. The chest rig stays on, Joseph, no matter what. Yeah. So, and my personal locator beacon stays attached to that. So if something happens where I become separated from my pack, I fall down into a ravine, I hurt myself, I have that on my body. I can grab that. Now, I'm not relying on trying to get a cell signal out there. I am trying to get a satellite signal. Now, you're not always going to be able to acquire satellites if you're under a lot of brush, but you have a way better chance of acquiring satellites eventually, as opposed to trying to get a cell signal on that. And there is that SOS button. So if you are able to, I do 100% suggest that you get one of those. Pay the monthly fee for the service for it. Let somebody know where you're going, when you're going to be back, and just really stick to that, because at the end of the day, we don't want to lose anybody to any of these mishaps. We don't want anybody that we know or we care about to fall victim to carelessness in the woods.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Fudge here.
Jesus.
Thank you first for that, by the way. Thank you for that. One of the strange things about the host cage, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. I don't mean to disrespect if I'm not. One of the strange things about the host case is that they couldn't get a cell phone ping. I've never lost cell service on or off trail.
That's
with
interesting.
them. Now, again, unless he fell and he damaged his phone, you know.
Yeah. Or he turns his phone off to go hiking because he wants peace and quiet. He is a lawyer after all.
Yeah.
Which is a terrible idea.
And he is familiar with that area. But it's again, it's just one of those data points that you have to. You can't, I'm not saying start screaming. And again, here's the other thing too. I never want to like sensationalize anybody's like any family's tragedy just for like, you know, cryptid stuff. But at the same token, this stuff is real. This stuff does happen. You also can't ignore it if it's a possibility. You know what I'm saying? And at this point, all I'm saying is that this is obviously it's tragic, but it's interesting.
Yeah. It's interesting to see how it's going to develop too.
Hopefully it's completely, he's found and everything like that. And it's great. But at the same token, I can't look at a case like this, and I can't look at an area like that with the amount of like Bigfoot reports and not just go.
And I think this also, you can kind of relate this also to, you remember that gentleman that was a ghost hunter that died under, they said it was natural causes, but he was in his 30s. But he was touring around with the Annabelle doll. And as soon as he
ticked me off so much.
As soon as something happened, he's in his late 30s. You know, I'm in my late 30s. I'm about to be 40. I'm not a young woman, but I'm also not an old woman. Like it's very rare for somebody to die in their late 30s, you know? So that's a very weird thing. And also you're traveling around, you know, selling tickets to this cursed doll, and you're selling this.
You're traveling with a cursed doll that you are purposely putting forward as being responsible for tragedy
and death,
mishap and death. And then the person touring with it passes away in an untimely manner. And then we're all like a-holes for just even considering it at that point.
Yeah.
And I'm going, you're like a paranormal TV celebrity. Not you, but the people doing this. You make a living going on television, playing a role, and just so come out and just say you're an actor and you don't really believe any of this stuff. And it's disrespectful because I believe in this stuff. I know this stuff is real.
100%.
For me, it's not a stretch. It's not a bridge too far that this, and even if it's not cursed itself, we talked about this right after it happened. In a lot of traditions around the world, sometimes just believing that something has paranormal qualities will cause it to have paranormal qualities.
Yeah.
And we talked about, I'd heard this from one of the Timothy Renner podcasts on Strange Familiars. And they were talking about how intent and belief is so strong in high strangeness. And there's, I believe it was a Tibetan ritual that they were discussing. And you had to use a knife that was used to kill 10 men. And if you didn't have a knife that was used to kill 10 men, you were supposed to use a knife that had been used to kill 2 men. And if you didn't have that, you were supposed to get a normal knife and tell it you've been used to kill 10 men. And then for the sake of the ritual, it would have the...
It would be imbued.
It would have imbued with the paranormal qualities of the object that you really wanted. So even if this was just a mundane doll, you have millions of people thinking it's cursed.
People who believe it, people who put that in there.
Throwing all that psychic energy out to the ether.
So even if it wasn't cursed to begin with, perhaps it became cursed.
Absolutely. But then if you discussed that, then you were an a-hole. And I'm just going...
An a-hole and a ghoul.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I wanted to kind of make reference to that, because I know without a doubt, you know, we're talking about a man who is missing. This is a current going on case. This is current. We're into looking for Bigfoot. We know that there's something.
We know that there's weird, strange phenomena in the forests that interact with people and aren't always friendly.
Right.
Or hardly ever friendly.
For sure.
We know that. I know that. I can't tell you what Bigfoot is. And to be honest with you, just like Jesse, I know there's something weird out there. I just don't know what it is. I don't even know if Bigfoot is a good descriptor for what we're experiencing out there. but we use it because that's the best descriptor for that particular little slice of the overall like pie of high strangeness that takes place out there. But
Yeah.
anyway, so it's interesting, very interesting. It's disturbing. Hopefully, and this is a good kind of like tie-in question here. Where do you guys draw the line when it comes to your combined safety? Even armed to the teeth, when do you guys call it too unsafe?
We've done it before.
There's been a handful of times that one of us has just called it, like pulled the ejection handle and just
usually it's going to be Joe that pulls that handle, just because I'm a mental patient. I will keep going and try to keep it together and keep going and keep pressing forward. But it's Joe's at the end of the day, the head on security on everything. So he ends up having to, not only is he in charge of the health and safety of his partner, but also his wife at the end of the day.
So, and a lot of times it's a balancing act. If I feel that there's a certain level to the outdoor paranormal phenomenon that we are trying to interact with and document out there, we'll push it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We'll push it. Generally, a lot of times, the thing that makes us kind of call it more often than anything else is snakes, venomous snakes, copperheads, if there's rattlers and stuff like that. There's no point in me dying to prove that snakes exist or get them on film. We all know they exist.
We did get them on film.
We did get
at
them
the
on film.
URs. We got a very handsome rattler.
But so I won't. Sometimes I'll go, the juice ain't worth the squeeze here. You know, with the paranormal stuff, sometimes we do kind of like go beyond what we probably should.
Yeah.
But that's the goal of this, is to document these phenomena, to try to get like proof. We treat this almost like we are like photojournalists almost. The whole idea is you've got to get, it's almost like so you take a certain amount of personal risk. But again, snakes, unless it's got to be something crazy going on, like at that moment for us to really risk like venomous snakes. Because again, me getting bit by a snake doesn't prove nothing but there's snakes there. And we already knew the snakes were there. So
that snake mystery solved.
Snake mystery solved. There we go. So I've got a funny thing on William Kennedy, our man William Kennedy. Okay. I went to I went to click on
you guys are gonna love this.
Jason's Wendigo documentary that came out with Small Town Monsters, because I haven't really had a chance to watch much of it. I've seen it in pieces and haven't watched the whole thing. Top comment on there is William Kennedy talking about how his wife is a Wendigo. And then it's just dozens of comments from other men on there commiserating about how their wives are Wendigos. And I'm like, top comment, our boy William. So there you go.
So he's not just doing this here. He's terrorizing everyone.
Internet phenomenon.
He's an internet sensation.
He's an internet sensation, our boy William Kennedy. So
there's none like him.
Unacknowledged unknown. Do you think the boogers take people? That data point by Pilates was about German surnames of people with university degrees. I don't think that any of these phenomena are like, I don't think there is an Easter bunny out there. I don't think that any of this has our best interests at heart. People tell me different, talk about their forest brothers, their forest people. That's cool. Good for you. I just don't think that any of this, at best, you're dealing with something that just might be indifferent to you and maybe take some, I believe in the trickster aspect of a lot of this. It takes pleasure in your misfortune. Maybe it doesn't want you dead,
like my painting,
but it enjoys watching you suffer. And I think that Bigfoot, whatever Bigfoot is, the idea that it's an opportunistic predator, I think there's data that at least supports that idea enough that you just can't dismiss it out of hand. You know, I think a lot of the more Disney versions of these phenomena, that's just wishful thinking on people's parts. They want the world and the universe to be like that.
That Disneyfication.
The Disneyfication of it all. I mean,
and I think we're sort of seeing, there are times when I look at the internet and all of its nightmarish glory, and I'll see people doing things online and saying things online and behaving in certain ways. And I'm like, Joe, why would you do this? Why would you interact
The
with this person?
Disneyfication of the world.
Why have you not? Why is this person? Did this person not do just a simple cursory search into this person before involving themselves? Why is this happening? And Joe said to me, and this was this morning actually. Joe said to me, I don't think they have our life experience, and they don't come from your place that you come from, and you've not seen the horrors of the world. They've not seen the horrors of the world as you have. So I think that I need to realize that, and like it is frustrating sometimes when we see this Disneyfication of the phenomena. We also have to remember that maybe they're not going out there and being terrified in the middle of the night in the woods on a regular basis.
You know, I just remember, I can't remember where this was, man. I've looked for this video before, but there was a lady on the side of the road filming from her open car window on her cell phone.
Oh yes, I remember.
The wolf. There's a wolf, and like, was it a goat or a sheep? And she's like, it's a grown woman, and she's like talking baby talk. Oh, look at, are you guys friends? Are you guys friends? Oh my Lord! And then the wolf does what a wolf does, and just latches it by the throat and takes it down and starts shaking it. And she's screaming, "Mr. Wolf, what are you doing, Mr. Wolf?" And I'm just going, this chick has seen too many Disney flicks. You know what I'm saying? And I think that so much of that is in the Bigfoot community as well, man, and all paranormal stuff. And you know, God bless them all. It's just because that's how they want the world to be. Maybe we're the wrong ones for being such like bitter, cynical, you know, old farts. Maybe it's, and maybe they're right. I don't know. I'm just telling you right now that if you look at all the data points, yes, there are some out there that go, hey, I saw a Bigfoot and he just looked at me and he didn't harm me. You know,
therefore,
we saw a rattlesnake from just a few feet away in the URIs and filmed it. It didn't harm us either. That doesn't mean it's harmless.
I'm not having a rattlesnake makeout session.
Yeah, no doubt. So it is what it is. Turdog asking, can we do a Hellbent Krampus Christmas special? We're talking about doing.
Joe has a title for our fundraiser that we're going to do for the charity that we.
The Hellbent Holiday Hellathon is like my crowning achievement in life. That's the best thing I've ever done. That's the best thing I've ever done.
I'm going to have it written on a poster board, taped to the wall. And every time I have to say that, I'm going to look at it and just read it. There's no way I'm going to be able to say that.
So, but anyway,
help.
The Hellbent Holler Day. We used that last year. Happy Holidays. We replaced the word holla or the prefix holla with holler because we're Hellbent Holler.
Thank you. Yes,
we're Hellbent Holler.
Yeah, following.
Holler Days.
Holler Days.
Instead of telethon.
Yeah, it's a hellathon
because that's the Hellbent. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hellbent Holler. And when we flip them.
Yeah, great.
Holler, hell again. See, 100%. That's what I did there. That's what I did.
There you have it, folks.
Sweet Jesus. All right. So the other thing too we wanted to talk about. So we talked about how the gentleman missing on Blood Mountain, there's a couple of data points there that fit the criteria that David Paulides drew up with Missing 411. And I know David Paulides is a very polarizing figure right now. A lot of people.
We have not seen the new movie.
We have not seen the new movie, but as far as like some of the cases that he chooses for inclusion in a Missing 411, a lot of them have been called into question. And to be honest with you, I don't know enough either way to really have an opinion about it, other than knowing a lot of people have called some of his stuff into question. That being said, I think the core Missing 411 stuff, as it was originally presented, had some validity to it. And even if nothing else, if you look at his like Missing 411 rules, never go alone, always go armed, always carry a personal locator beacon. Mm-hmm. Regardless of what you think about David Paulides, you can't argue with the validity of that advice. But just like there's some like data points that kept showing up with his stuff, we walked away from this Sumter investigation and all we could talk about is the pattern. I titled it The Emerging Pattern. The Emerging Pattern. And again, I know this is the internet. I know this goes out all over the world. I know there's people in other parts of the country that look into Bigfoot and they have different experiences than we do. Good for y'all. talking about with us in this particular region that we've been focused on for the past several years. We have always talked about patterns that we see, one of being quartz. We see quartz in a lot of these areas with Bigfoot activity or other types of high strangeness. There's other stuff that we've kind of alluded to that we walked away from Sumter going,
there's something there.
It's a pattern. It's not anything that we're going to like just kind of waffle about anymore and just go, well, it's interesting. There's a pattern there.
And now that we're starting to establish these data points and this pattern, as we go forward, as we keep moving forward in these investigations, we take on new investigations, new locations, new cases. We're really going to focus on these points. Now, we're not going to cherry pick, because there might be data points we're missing in the whole scheme of things that will eventually emerge. And then we look back in our notes on our previous expedition. Like me dying. On our previous expeditions, we'll look back at our notes and
very unprofessional.
I'm sorry. I started talking too much. All right. We'll look back at our notes from our previous expeditions and we'll see that there's something that we missed. There's always this one minor, I'm going into some true detective stuff here. There's one minor detail we may have missed that might crack the case on that. But that's the thing, is we're going to start really focusing on what are these commonalities? What are these threads that go through all of these cases? Carry on.
So the quartz gets mentioned ad nauseum. To this point, sometimes I don't even like mention it. I just point the camera at it and go, big chunks of white quartz laying on top of the leaves or the pine needles. Hadn't been there that long. We're out hiking all the time and exploring all the time into areas where a lot of people don't go to. We don't ever dig out quartz, clean it, and then just lay it on top of stuff. And we're very focused on quartz. But in of itself, it's not proof of anything, but it's just something that we keep noticing in these areas.
And these are locations that are completely unconnected. I know, unless there's some sort of underground group of people that meet online periodically and plan these great quartz digs, you know.
But quartz has always been one of them. The presence of how do I want to phrase this? Sites of former human habitation. In our area, old Cherokee villages, old homesteads, old cabins, anything like that. People were once there and there's still slight remnants of them, but nature is basically taking back over. And you see this mostly in the national forests because people lived there before that land was seized to become the national forests. And I think that that's because there's a liminality. All of this stuff exists on the boundary, kind of on that edge between what we think is real and what we don't think is real at all. And it's in this liminal areas. And I think that's an area with a great deal of liminality. It's an area where there was once nature and then man, exerted his dominion and, chopped down the trees and made a home. And now nature is taking it back over. So it's been an area
it seems like in the grand scheme of things is constantly in transition.
Yeah. So, and it's those areas are attracting high strangeness. There's no seem to anymore about this. They're attracting high strangeness. So much so that if we're out like investigating a patch of woods and we look at an area and we go, there used to be a home here. Okay, there used to be a cabin here, or a home site here, or a small, collection of dwellings here, and now it's all forest. That's where we'll focus on.
And it has been without fail. It seems like every location that we've had major activity, that we've gotten some really crazy stuff that we've experienced, we've documented. Without fail, they are the sites of former human habitation. And through the course of this latest investigation over the past few weeks, we were going through those woods and we weren't finding anything. We were not finding evidence of habitation. Now there are many, many plantations down there. So we know that was an area of human habitation, that was settled at one point in time, but we had not found anything in these areas that we were experiencing all this stuff until one of those last days we were out there with MK. We were hiking this path, we were hiking this trail, this path that was set forth, and we stumbled across the remnants of a homestead, and we were like, there it is.
Milled
Finally,
stone.
There
We found an open well. But that is an area. So it's these areas that, and Blackthorn's like that because it's riddled with the sites of old plantations and old homesteads. But I'm not saying it's a possibility anymore. It's a pattern. It's there. It's there. One of the other things that we've seen time and time again, is the presence of deep, dry creek beds, ravines. In the case of Uwharrie's, very extreme, collapsed mine shafts that have caused like depressions in the ground that run. We didn't even know these were there in Sumter, and you'll see the footage on it.
Yeah.
There were
there's no indicators with the topo lines on the map.
And it should have been, because these were large. These were
Absolutely.
sizable. These were sizable.
Absolutely.
The topo map should have shown a sudden 30-foot drop down into the ground that ran for half a mile, better part of a mile, whatever.
But that there is this area of concealment. There is this avenue of concealment where something can travel from one place to another completely undetected by anybody or anything on the surface. So you just have these super highways, these underground super highways in a way.
And I struggle with the idea of Bigfoot being completely flesh and blood. If it is, we're dealing with something, don't say it's a natural animal, because we're dealing with something that is unlike anything else on earth, including human beings. But you look at this and there's always the presence of these areas where something physical could drop down in and move without being seen. And it provides so much cover than even like a thick patch of forest, And I'm looking at it and I'm going, if something, again, let's go back to the LBL. When we caught that thing on thermal, we saw something that appeared to be upright, large, and canine observing us. And I was only seeing the top half of it. So I thought it was maybe laying on the ground. We got the thermal images of it. We went back there the next day and we realized that it was leaning out of like a ravine, a gully, maybe a dry creek bed, whatever it was once upon a time. And that ran for a while. And I'm going, whatever this was popped out looking at us. And when it realized I could see it, it dropped down in where I couldn't see it. And then either it crouched there until we left or it moved off.
Yeah.
And we're seeing this time and time again, to the point where now we're going, if we're out somewhere and we see ravines, gullies, dry creek beds like that, even if we haven't had reports of Bigfoot activity, we're going to focus on that area.
Yeah.
Because more than likely there's something going on in that area. Whatever these things are using, we know that whatever these things are, they use old forest roads and old logging roads sometimes.
Also, I can't wait to hear all of this on all these other podcasts.
All these other podcasts
over the next
stealing our
week and a half.
Yeah. We think they're using dry creek beds, but and also too, especially if it's a dry creek bed with stone on the bottom, it's not going to leave signs of tracks. You're not going to leave really a lot of sign of your passage.
Yeah.
But when we were, so let me paint you a little picture here. We're in Sumter National Forest. We're with MK. We determined that this area that we were camping in was having activity around the edges of it. We got audio, we got thermal, we had visual sightings of something. If you watch the channel, we don't find a ton of like Bigfoot tracks. We just don't find a ton of them. We never really have. We found so many, like, I guess I got to say possible Bigfoot tracks because I didn't see what made it. But something's leaving very large footprints out there where you can see the toes and everything like that as well. But whatever is there is coming up to the edge of this campsite where we camped at, doing its stuff and then retreating back into the woods. So we go into the woods after it and we find a trail going into the woods at this point. We decide to go around to the far side around it and come off a Forest Service road there into that patch of woods behind this campsite that we were at. And we go in a few dozen yards and we find these ravines that I'm assuming are the product of like just erosion or whatever. They don't appear to be dry creek beds, but it's like a little miniature Grand Canyon. We were shocked at like how it's a drop off. and it just continues and it branches off and everything like that. And I'm going, this is what we saw in the UREs, but like on a miniature scale. But here's the deal. It's not on a map. It's not on a topo map. Unless we stumbled across it, we wouldn't even know it was there.
William Kennedy says unintentionally, or not unintentionally, but intentionally hidden by the dark triad.
So so we're looking at it and we're going, well, let's follow it. So we get in this gully, this ravine, and we're seeing signs of passage on the bottom of it. We're finding footprints. We're finding all this. We follow that, and we realize that if you follow this all the way, well, it takes you out of the ravine, into the woods, right up to this campsite we were using. And we're going, something's coming out of these ravines and going up to the campsite. Or there's travel between these ravines and the campsite where we documented activity. It's these things, whatever they are either using them for travel. Maybe they're using them to like lay low during the daytime, because nobody in their right mind is going to go into these things. Even if you're knocking around the forest, even if somebody's just cutting through the forest for no reason at all, which the odds are against. The odds are even less likely for you to slide 30 feet down in, not knowing what's at the bottom of this ravine or where it goes to, like we did. Most people aren't going to do that. It's a very good spot to lay low and to traverse the area without being seen. Data point. So from now on, when we're looking at maps of areas, if it's listed, we're going to see that. Another data point that is no longer deniable is the fact that in a lot of these areas, and again, I know this may not be nationwide, but at least in the area that we're operating in, the Southern Appalachian region, wilderness areas that seem to have elements of high strangeness or Bigfoot or Dogman or whatever you want to call it, the Fae, there's generally a bureaucratic barrier to entry through there. It is either the parts of the UREs around Coggins Mine where you cannot go into, and we didn't go into because it was posted. It is parts of Blackthorn, which are gated and cameraed off that you can't get into for no reason at all that we can't find any explanation for. We came across in the Sumter National Forest. It's marked as public land.
Oh, yeah.
But there's no trespassing, stay out signs there. And there was a number that you could call. And the language used on the signs seemed a few decades out of place. And it was barbed wire.
And we could be wrong about the mismatch of time for this.
No, we're not. We're not. What do you mean a mismatch of time for this?
Well, because it's what you're going into right now.
Oh, here's what I'm saying is that there's a bureaucratic barrier. There's a man-made barrier, either physical or legal or whatever you want to call it, that keeps you out of certain areas in these forests that have high strangeness. Now, I'm not even saying that it is the government trying to cover up something. Maybe it's a legit reason for the authorities wanting you to stay out of this area. Well, maybe whatever these things are, or these phenomena, realize that somehow. Realize that people
take advantage
of it.
Similar to what we experienced in the URE, what we've experienced in Blackthorn, where there's vocalizations when there's a plane passing overhead.
It's a learned behavior.
It's a learned behavior that develops, but it's using the human manipulation of the environment to its advantage.
Well, we say in Blackthorn, we see remnant traces of infrastructure there. They were trying to build wilderness recreation there.
Yeah.
We see it. There's that boat launch that was not cheap to make that they just abandoned and you can't get to anymore. There's areas where it looked like part of it was going to be turned into a state park once upon a time that was just abandoned for it. And maybe here's the deal. Maybe there's no conspiracy as to why they did that. Maybe they just ran out of money.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe whoever was championing that particular cause got voted out of office, or it was a bureaucrat who lost their job, whatever, retired, and it just got put on the back burner for so long it never happened. Like we said in Blackthorn, maybe the bureaucratic barriers are put up because there's something weird there and they're trying to hide it. Or maybe something unrelated happened and there was a bureaucratic barrier up there that then the weird stuff moved in after that. You know what I'm saying? And it went, this is an area where people don't go to very often. They're over there, but they're never down here. This is where I'm going to reside at, have most of my activity at, go to when there's people around here. But a bureaucratic barrier, some sort of authority telling you to stay out of this area. Without mentioning any names, we found that Army Corps of Engineer area that was not on a map that was posted for us to stay out of. Okay.
And this is not like some huge conspiracy thing.
No.
You know, and because, you know, there are people in the chat who are saying, you know, so a lot of these things do have real purpose and everything.
Absolutely, they do. There are areas, but then there's other areas where it's not readily apparent, but there is some sort of official barrier to you going in there, and there's weird stuff happening there. And I'm even saying, like in Blackthorn, I don't think they shut all this down because there was weird stuff going on. I think they shut it down for some reason we don't know, at least part of that area. There may have been something weird they found down through there that led to that area being shut down, but I don't think that's always the case. But I think that whatever is here is opportunistic. It moves, it sees people don't go here. That's where I'm going to hang out at most of the time, and then pop out every so often. And it's undeniable at this point. It's unfreaking deniable at this point. We're going through the woods like hot on the trail of like something, and then all of a sudden barbed wire, stay out, you know, and we're going, this isn't like private property. We've got
to call collect,
you know, call this number collect if you have any questions. And I'm going, how long has it been since you've had the ability to make a collect call, for God's sake?
And it wasn't that old of a sign.
Yeah, it wasn't that old of a sign. Very odd. Very odd. But it's a data point, and it's something that we've seen so many times now that we go, if something like that is going on, the odds are something strange is going to be going on there. Might be unrelated to it, might be taking advantage of it, but it's there at that point. And we've got a few other data points that we've kind of come up at that are starting to become very, very, very relevant. And this is above and beyond the usual things where if you see an area on a map and Booger Hollow, you know,
low-hanging fruit,
Devil Den, stuff like that. Yeah, they named those areas because there was stuff going on there.
Sasquatch's taint.
But a lot of times names will change from, you know, when people originally settled that area.
Yeah.
And maybe places that were called, you know, Devil's Creek are no longer called Devil's Creek. They're called something else. But
our friend Minerva is in the chat. Hello,
hey,
Minerva. She's not been on the live in a while.
What's
she always
up,
watches
Minerva?
after. Hello, Miss Minerva.
I'm going to kind of go through the chat here a little bit,
yeah,
and see what is going on here.
Not Today is dropping some bombs there.
Dropping some bombs.
Some knowledge bombs.
Some knowledge bombs. But our buddy from 40 in Tennessee, we had roughly 2-minute interaction with something rock clacking back our whistle tunes that was hunkered down in a dry creek bed, hidden at the time. But it's to this point where I think that dry creek beds, gullies, ravines, all of that are so attractive and useful.
Yeah.
If there's anything in that general region, they're going to grab it.
And it's that, you know, you got to also think it's the path of least resistance. You know, if you have the opportunity to use something, you're going to use it. I mean, we do.
Yeah.
We were going to a area, we were trying to return to an area in the forest. There was a arduous hike to it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then we figured out we could just take this forest road. Mm-hmm. And so we went down the forest road for the next time we went into that area. Instead of taking this roundabout way that we originally took, we're like, let's just take the forest road.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, that's what you're going to do. Stephen Bolton, in Pet Cemetery, Stephen King hints that the land is caught up in a legal limbo for generations because the underlying phenomena itself wants it that way. Maybe this abandoned boat launch is similar.
Never read Pet Cemetery, so I don't know. That's good. So
no fair.
So it just kind of going through some of the random stuff here. And it is William Kennedy's madness.
Yeah, good luck with William Kennedy.
William Kennedy's madness.
He's The wild man is loose. The goose is loose.
Oh yeah, and Scorpius says the reason to secure caves. Absolutely. I'm not saying that all of this is a conspiracy on the government's part to hide the truth from us, although some of it might be. I think that something out there knows, hey, those people don't come into these caves. I'm going to stay behind these signs right here. When the sun is up or when there's people around, I'm going to retreat back here and they won't come across it. And I'm safe back here. There's pattern recognition going on. Just like Jesse mentioned earlier, hearing vocalizations only when planes are going by overhead.
And we've experienced that in multiple locations.
That's undeniable
at this point.
So
Kaiju Ninja 85 says, have people gone missing in those military government areas that you're talking about?
No real military area.
Yeah.
The Blackthorn area, people have had aggressive Bigfoot activity in, or what they assume is Bigfoot activity.
There's also another factor when it comes to these areas, Blackthorn for sure. And then we've definitely seen this in the LBL, is a lot of times people that go into these areas are on the fringe of society. And this is something we've talked about in the past, that especially with those abandoned tents that we found in the LBL, those people that were in those were probably people that someone would not report missing or notice going missing. You've got a lot of people that die of ODs and things like that, that their family has entirely written them off. They don't have family. They're on the fringes of society. They're given no other option, and they end up lost and homeless and in a tent in the heart of the LBL. If you're to that point in your life, you don't have a lot of people who care about you or who will go looking for you, much less report you missing. They'll just write it off as something they expected to happen and move on with their lives if they haven't already. So a lot of these people perhaps go missing and nobody ever reports them. These are people who are on the fringe of society. And oftentimes people who are on the fringes of society are the ones that attract paranormal activity. It's almost as if the other itself is attracted to these people because it knows it can toy and manipulate and take these people at will, and there'll be no looking into it, no consequences. And perhaps nobody will even believe them if they survive the incident.
Well, that's why we went into the area where we found some of those missing tents in the first place, because there was word of mouth that people were displaced from the tornadoes that had gone through that area near the LBL, and that they were basically going into that forest to live because they had no other option, and they were going missing. And some people said that it was criminal activity. It may or may not have been. I don't know. Other people were saying that it was because of the things that we were out there looking for. I don't know. Jessica says, refreshing to hear someone not jumping to conclusions. Association does not necessarily imply causation. That's our thing on like Bigfoot and orbs and Bigfoot and some of the woo stuff. Maybe it's completely like just unrelated, but it's just taking place in the same area for some unknown reason. Maybe there's something special about that particular patch of ground that attracts the Bigfoot and attracts the other weird stuff that happens out there. Maybe Bigfoot's causing the orbs. I don't know. Maybe it's completely unrelated. Maybe they're attracted to each other. What was the idea that we came up later on, that Bigfoot kind of straddles two worlds, so it's more open to the hitchhiker phenomenon than we are?
Yeah.
And that the orbs are a manifestation of the weird stuff that Bigfoot's is experiencing themselves. Maybe Bigfoot's seeing the orbs too, going,
leave me alone.
Leave me alone. What are these things? So, I've got weird hairless things over here. I've got balls of light over here. So
me just want peace.
Bigfoot just want peace.
People keep asking if we've called the number. I haven't even called my mother since we've been.
We haven't done anything, man.
We have been going. We have not.
Do you have those photos on your phone?
I do.
Okay, so
I do have the photos.
I do have the photos. So
there's the thing too, is on the signs that we found, each sign was supposed to have a number.
Like a station number, and there's nothing on there at all.
Yeah, station number, and then Joe's like, get real close to it.
Get the station number. So
none of them have a station number.
And again, I'm not saying it's like that's where they're hiding the underground base. No, it might have like a just very normal explanation. But it seems like a lot of the activity was going on going to the side of the fence that we were not supposed to go to. So,
Bigfoot Wild Boy that was formerly HGMC, says the pattern of bad weather when search and rescue begins has always been striking to me. That's something that always strikes me too.
That's always something that actually literally strikes us.
strikes
So,
us. And I hate to keep referring back to the LBL stuff. I think I don't know, we all talked about this at some point earlier. The werewolf experiments was kind of our first exposure to a lot of people that are here right now, a lot of people that participate in this, watch everything that we do and are a part of our community. That was kind of the gateway drug into Hellbent Holler, was the werewolf experiments in the LBL. And during that expedition and the one prior to that, we experienced insane weather events just out of nowhere, unexpected ice storms and then rainstorms, tornadoes. We experienced all of that while we were up there, and none of that was predicted or forecasted. So we've definitely been on the receiving end of that too.
All right. I'm just going to throw this up here. Does the Dogman population increase with the homeless population following the herds seasonally? Damn, I'm creeping myself out. You're creeping me out too there, Stone Maven. And that, that's a data point that I'm going to stand by that. You know what I'm saying? That a possible...
We are going to contact the phone number. We're not being dismissive of.
No, we're not contacting from our numbers.
No,
but
we're
not using that. We'll let you know how it develops. I'm not saying anything else, but yes, that phone number is not just going to not.
We literally discovered the phone number thing late last night while we were out there.
So all right.
Well, it's the
JD Smooth's got a kind of off topic. It's good. Do you think those black shadow figures you guys came across in the LBL are something that's trying to cloak but hasn't cloaked all the way? I can't say for sure one way or the other. I didn't get that impression. It just seemed like it vanished because of its speed. It didn't seem like it evaporated or went invisible or anything like that. But I can't rule it out. I don't know. I still don't know I don't even know how to quantify those things or to label them or anything like that, other than there's something else in the LBL other than Bigfoot and Dogman, and we've seen it 3 times. All right, let's see what else we got here. Chat's going bananas.
I know it is.
The chat is bananas.
Dare I say banana town?
So you're going to no longer hear us talk about, because we always kind of try to I hate Bigfoot experts, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not even saying that this is where the Bigfoots are. There's something weird in the woods, and you can often find it around ravines, creek beds, deep gullies, stuff like that.
We always joke that it's the Hellbent Holler bingo card.
Yeah, but the bingo card got a few more squares on it, and it's more solidified now.
Yeah.
If you run across any sort of shut off or restricted area in a national forest, state forest, big patch of woods or whatever, hang out for a while at night, because you're probably going to experience something weird. Okay. Probably going to experience something weird. See what else we got. What else you got in the chat here that's been good that we want to, because we're coming up to the.
We are coming up.
This is a good one. Bruce Buford said MK Davis has a film of one using ditches.
Yes.
I didn't know that. So
I would like to see that. MK Davis. MK Davis is such a fascinating person. I feel like we need to bring more MK Davis into this. People
can say what you want about MK Davis, and I understand how people have problems with the Bluff Creek massacre. I don't necessarily buy that wholeheartedly, but I also don't dismiss everything because of a disagreement on one point.
Yeah, absolutely not.
You know
if that was the case, and you got to think about this too. Think about, I understand if there is a researcher out there that you really like a lot of what they do, or you just know of one thing that they do and you don't really agree with them, try to look at other stuff.
Yeah,
look at their work as a whole.
100%,
I mean, if you disagree with somebody in your life, do you just cast them aside? Yeah. Yes, you do. No,
yes.
You're not supposed to.
Well, that's the Bigfoot community, man. It's just like this. And that's what I always go as I go, you realize that normal people think we're all equally crazy. Okay. You're also a grown ass man who is running around looking for an undiscovered monkey in the woods. Don't put any airs around me just because you think it's an undiscovered monkey and I think it's something a little stranger,
But they say it's a monkey with their pinky up.
All right, let's see what else we got here.
I got the Christmas.
Hey JD, we have not had a chance to really look at that too much in depth. We have been literally just zigzagging. In case you can't tell by the bags under my eyes, we have just been zigzagging back and forth between this and putting this Sumter investigation to bed. That portion of the Sumter National Forest is, and if MK is still in the chat, he can back us up on that. It is
creepy.
It's creepier than all hell.
Frightening. There's a lot of threads in this whole thing that are very interesting. The history there is bizarre.
You're going to see a lot more.
It reads like a novel.
You're going to see a lot more stuff from us in that part of the South.
Yeah.
Because we were there just going,
what is this?
Because we'd never gone to that particular like stretch of woods before.
I've gone to that stretch of woods before in the past a couple of times. I've been down there a few times. That's near where I go to my survival
school.
You've
gone down there for survival school, but I mean, I'm talking about like down there with
investigations down there. And we've never really explored the woods to that degree.
Yeah, so it is a
Joe is hell on batteries. Don't we know it, Bruce?
There we go. So military retiree Viking pagan. We've learned more about the cemetery. We have learned conflicting information about that big cemetery. When I alluded earlier that I was a little salty about all this stuff, because now we're in this position of we went there because a witness got in touch with us. We uncovered other stuff, and then she backed away, going, "Please, we don't want to get. Please don't do anything." That what we're afraid of now is we don't know what we can say or not say without bringing attention to her and breaking our word. And that's almost salty about it. I wish we had just stumbled across it by ourselves
and not had all this baggage.
Not had all the baggage along with it, and then we could just do whatever with it. But we've learned some more stuff about it. Conflicting. We don't know exactly what happened, but we've got conflicting information on it. So, and we'll figure out the best way to kind of present that. So what else? What else do we got? Because we're getting ready to wrap it up.
Yeah, we are. We're gonna eat some dinner.
Buddy, take two wheels. Take two wheels in the house. Jesse and Joe, your videos are incredible lately. Thank you so much. And we have been hitting it hard there. So hold on, here we go. Nate Carter. I live at the base of Blood Mountain. It is very creepy outside right now.
Nate's been chiming in about the Blood Mountain conversation, about the seer situation and stuff like that.
Now, I don't know if seer training.
No,
the
Rangers are like 10 miles away.
Yeah, I think they do ranger training on that mountain. But
I was wrong.
And they might do. I don't know. They might do seer training there as well. But they.
But Nate's had some good insight to Blood Mountain.
Nate, can you expound upon what you're talking about a little bit? So, is it more creepy now than it usually is, or is it always creepy out there, or? All right, let's see here. Our buddy Moondog. Todd Standing's videos are impressive. That's another lightning rod in the Bigfoot community. Todd Standing.
You ever get a chance, watch the episode titled "The One Where Jesse and Joe Lose It."
I hope Todd Standing doesn't watch that. I'll have an enemy for life.
Be a blood oath, blood feud.
Sarge says, "Have you found anything to corroborate the original report?" If you're still talking about the Wolfman thing,
there are people that are from that area that have had similar experiences.
Yeah,
that are totally independent of our witness.
No mention of Wolfman, but mention
upright
figures, upright monsters, upright things, but nothing. Honestly, nothing overtly canine. They're very generic in their language, just scary things on two legs in the woods. So that could be Bigfoot or whatever, but. There's definitely a lot of other reports of weird activity that we were unaware of until we started digging into this Wolfman thing. And I wish we had just come across those in our research and already been out there, and then, not have been like hidebound to like watch our
what
we say about that area.
Green Devil says the Pisgah National Forest is near you guys and worth checking out. We have been in there. I actually grew up on the edge of the Pisgah National Forest in Haywood County.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we have been there.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Let me just ask Joe, was that graveyard possibly connected to the Civil War? How do I want to answer that without? The explanations that we have found, and we found, what, 3 so far? People saying with great authority that this is what it is, and then somebody else is contradicting them, and somebody else is contradicting them. No. We have not heard anything as of yet as far as an explanation goes. We have heard natural disaster, but none of the explanations we have found so far or heard so far make any sense as far as why there'd be that many unmarked graves out there. So for us, it's still a mystery, but some people claim to know what is going on out there. So
Bigfoot and Wildblade says, I love how non-judgmental y'all are compared to a lot of other prominent researchers.
Non-judgmental. Oh, we judge the hell out of people, but I'm
judging you right now.
I'm judging you even more right now.
I judged you about 30 minutes ago.
I
pretty
judged you when I
hardcore.
first met you. But it's
Joe and I, our first meeting, here's a little nugget for you. Speaking of judging, Joe and I, in our first meeting, our first words to each other were terrible insults.
Yeah. You know.
And nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed since.
Years.
Nothing's changed since then. All right. Let's see what else we got here.
Minerva Roca. Thank you, Miss Minerva.
Thank you, Minerva. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. See, that's the thing, because some people think Todd Standing is definitively true. Some people think that they're felt puppets.
And Minerva has been with us for 16 months.
Hey, Minerva. Thank you.
Proud to be a member. Proud to have you.
Moondog talking about our thermal image. The big-eared canine-looking thing looking at us that we got on thermal was impressive, you know. But much like Todd Standing, other people tell us that it's just a very, very, very hot stump that we carved into the shape of a dogman, heated it up somehow, and then made it move.
I was going to make a terrible joke about hot stump, but I just don't have it in me.
Hot stump.
It's a hot stump.
Hot stump was the name of my band in high school. We were awesome. We played the prom and everything. So, all right, guys, we're getting ready to wrap it up here in a minute.
You know what the name of my band was?
What was the name of your band?
Cone of Darkness.
Cone of Darkness. All right, guys, we are.
I think we're good. I think we've done it.
I think everybody's doing stump lot jokes. All right, anyway, we are going to. We have hours and hours and hours and hours
of work to do.
Of Sumter National Forest footage to go through.
And we're gonna.
I am going to be. Jesse's gonna be looking through the video. I'm going to be trying to review some of the audio. We got something on audio walking around where we were camped at that we couldn't catch on thermal, but I could hear it walking, and then we caught a growl on there. I need to isolate that, clean it up, listen to that, see what it sounds like, get some. I will probably let some of the members listen to it to give me their opinions on it, to tell me what they think it is. Maybe there's a prosaic explanation for it. I don't know. But we've also put out some high sensitivity recorders overnight that I've got like hours of audio to go through. So we're going to see if we caught anything on that.
Yep.
We've got some very interesting thermal footage to go through. So we've got a lot of stuff coming out. As far as that goes. Right now, bear with us. We're 2 people. The investigations take a long time to do. We've been harping on that with years for you guys. Like tomorrow night, when I get home from the mundane job, I've got like 5 hours of equipment cleaning, charging, data dump, cleaning the SD cards out, saving that footage, getting ready to review and everything like that. So
and I'm working on editing all day tomorrow, working on that members release, and then I have to go to my job for 12 hours.
Yeah, so we
are doing our best.
But right now,
with all of our correspondence as best we can, but
over the summertime, it was difficult to do field investigations because of the weather, the heat, the foliage. Right now, we're in prime investigating. So
we are in the woods.
Investigating is the
primary objective
right now. So we are going to end up having a ton of footage to go through as we can. But right now, the iron is hot and we are striking. So good night, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. You guys rock. We appreciate you very, very much. You guys, we will keep y'all posted. Stay tuned.
Oh,
what?
Real quick, a little milestone here that we hit while we were in the woods.
Oh, we did.
We broke 40,000 subscribers.
We did.
Not bad for a couple people who don't do thumbnails and do the cheesy YouTube games. So if you're watching this, hit the subscribe button or don't. I don't really care. So,
like, share, subscribe.
So anyway, we're going to go eat and then get back to work, guys.
All right. Good night, everybody. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Good night. Hellbent Holler out. Wait.